In this video I'm going to show you how to make a badge using a simple black and white image. So I've already got my image, but I'm going to go to File, Import, that's my JPG, my image, Open. Now the first thing I need to do is scale this down a bit to get it to an appropriate size. So I'm going to click on it. Up here it's telling me how large it is. So I'm going to get it down so that across the width here it's going to be about 50 millimeters. So double click on there, 50, enter. Now I had the padlock locked over here so it kept its proportions. Now you can zoom in and out with the mouse wheel. Now I want to make a copy of this, but the best way to do this is I want to do a tracing of it, a trace, so I'm going to go Tools, Image Trace. I'll just go Fade Image. That purplish line, that's what it's traced around this JPEG. Now I'm going to put a link in the description to show more, which will show you how to do this in more detail if you need to. But this is a really strong image and it's done the image trace really well. Okay, so that's my original JPEG, this is my image trace. Now I want a couple of these, so I'm going to copy that as well. Control C, Control V. Now what we've got is, I'm just going to click on this image of the monitor, a preview. The black lines are what's going to be laser engraved or laser cut. Now I have under Window, I've got this in Filled Smooth, so it's filled in all the lines. But if you go to Wireframe Smooth, on these ones here, it is just showing the outlines, but in the preview, it still shows everything in there because it's a scan. Set to scan, it's going to be a laser engrave. But it is easier to have it in Window and put it on Filled Smooth. I'm just going to highlight that one. I'm going to change this one to blue. Now the colors are just can be an order of laser engraving, but it's how you can set different tasks or have it doing different things. So I've got the blue one is set to cut, but on this drop down I could change it to be scan, and it's a blue scan, and then you can set different speeds and powers, but I'm going to change that to a cut. And then if I go to preview, you can see that's just a cut file. Okay. Now I do not need this original JPEG anymore, so I'm going to delete that. Now what we have to remember when we're doing these badges is that we're going to have to do them in layers, and also it's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle. So I've done this in Tinkercad and just saved the images. So there's my example of my bee that I'm going to be doing. And you can see it needs to be done in layers. That's the base, and then these are the different components. And we have to create them separately, and then insert it a little bit like a jigsaw. So I've got these right proportions. I'm going to need, the first thing I'm going to do is create my back layer. So on this one that's a cut file, I'm going to copy that another time, Control C, Control V, and I'm going to ungroup it. So I'm going to make this one my outline one. Now if I click on here, Edit Nodes, that's where I can potentially edit the nodes, but I can't do anything until I ungroup it. So now you can see it's got nodes, roll in, and it can be adjusted, and we can edit the nodes, we can delete them or add them. I'll go back to the cursor, click off it. I'm going to do the same on this one, ungroup it, edit nodes, scroll out. So this one here is going to be my back, so I'm going to delete bits. So this is my straight back outline. That is finished. So that is representing the back layer. I'll move it. Now on this one here, because I want to create the details. So the first thing I need to do is if you go to Tools, Edit, and go down to Settings, you want to make sure that the grid snap distance is set to 0. 0.0. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in, scroll in. Okay, we're going to click on this pencil tool and we're going to draw some lines for the number 4. So it's a left mouse click. Now you can enter a whole lot of different vertex points or nodes, or you can just click on the main ones and we end up with toggles that then we can adjust it from. So I'm going to do a left mouse click and then a right mouse click to close it. Now I need to change the color of that so that I can see it. Well, I should have got off the pencil tool, go to the cursor, delete that mistake, click on my 4 and I'm going to change it to red. And this 2 is going to be a cut tool, so I'm going to change that to cut. Now as you can see, that is not looking too good, so I'm going to click on it. I'm going to go to edit the nodes and I'm going to edit those nodes. Now if I hover over a line, I can add some adjustment toggles. So I hover over the line and I press S for smooth, and I've inserted these toggles that I can adjust, and I can stretch them out to match my line. The other thing you can do is you can also add nodes or delete nodes. So if I hover over that node there and go D for delete, it'll delete that node, or I can hover over and go I for insert. Now I'm also going to put a link in the description on a video on how to do this in a lot more detail. So insert, and I can adjust, zoom in, and you can adjust nice and accurately. Or if you've got the points, you add these toggles and you can adjust them to match the curve, and that looks pretty good. So I have to do another one here. S for smooth, S for smooth there, this one here, and one here. So I'm just going to adjust all of these, and then when I've done it, we'll skip through. I'll just do this main one. So now I've finished my 4, and I'll move on to my B. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'll click on the pencil tool, draw lines. I'll zoom in a bit. Now I could create, as before, pencil tool, left mouse click, a whole lot of node points, but it's going to be easier just to do that. Pencil tool, left mouse click, left mouse click, and then a right mouse click to close. Cursor, hover over each of those lines. Sorry, first I've got to go to the edit node, hover over the lines. S for smooth, get the toggles. So I'm going to hover over this one, D for delete, and delete that node. And S for smooth and the toggles. S, 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 S. Now I can adjust them. So I'll do the big one first. I'm going to zoom in a bit and adjust these. Now you can adjust the length of it as well, which you can see adjust the curve. Now if I hover over the point and go S, I've got adjustment to create that as a curve as well. So that's instead of a point, it's now a round. And that looks pretty good. And that can be moved up and down. So I'll just go out of it and see what proportions look pretty good. Now the other thing we can do, we'll click on this one. I want to insert another node. So I for insert. So we can do it the method this way, where I did the basic curves first and then I clicked on the corner and went S for smooth on the simple vertex point. But like I said, there's going to be a video instruction to show that in more detail. Or you can have more in vertex points at the top there. So we'll adjust this. And delete that one. Hover over delete it. I think I've got enough with this one. So I've got, because I've got two nodes at the top there, I've got a similar situation where I've started to be able to create the curve and keep it reasonably symmetrical. So I'm a little bit big there. It's going to recenter this. So that looks alright. I can click on it and make my adjustments, edit node. I'll have to zoom in. I'm going to just adjust it slightly. Click on the cursor. Now essentially I have now, I think, got everything I need to create this. So those are cut files. We'll click on the preview. So this cut file is going to cut this one here. It's going to cut all of those separate parts out. But in reality, I do not want to cut all of those separate parts out. So I want to be able to insert that over the top of that and do a scan. And then I have to have a separate one just to cut out my B letters and my number. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to do a copy of this. Control C, Control V. And move it out of the way. So I've still got a copy. And I'm going to delete a whole lot of parts because I don't want them. I want to have this part Let's go back to this picture. So I need to create the B. So I need to end up with this line across here to connect it all together. Oh no, that's good, that's separate, so I don't need to do anything. I'll delete that bit. And that's ready to be a cut file. And I'm just going to show you one of the things that is going to go into more detail in the link below that I'm going to insert. So edit nodes. Now if you hover over a line and press delete, it'll delete a section. Edit undo. If you hover over a node it will just delete that node. Hover over D. Hover over a line and it breaks the curve. So I'm going to edit, undo both of those. So we're back to where we were. Cursor. So this is what's going to get laser engraved. This section here is what's going to be laser cut. What I have to do is end up putting that on top of that. This one here, I'm not going to need anymore. So that's going to be my back, that's my plywood, my 3mm plywood, that's going to get laser engraved. And this section here is going to get laser cut, and I need to put that over the top of the B. So it will cut out of the plywood the 4 and the B. So I need to change this part of the B to red. So I've got my B. So those blue lines are both cut lines. Now we're going to set up all of our cuts and our powers. I'm going to change that blue should be a cut line. So in the library, we've set up in the library a whole lot of presets. So here where it says Ruder Badge Acrylic and then Ruder Badge Plywood. So we're going to do the plywood first. You still have to click on this 0. Now I'm going to do my scan, the top one. Click on that. So now that didn't work, I have to click on the color there. So now that it's blue, and I'm going to click on scan and go assign to layer, and you'll see that these things will change. So it's got a speed of 75mm a second and it's 15% power. I'm going to click on my cut there, click on this Ruder Badge Plywood cut, assign to layer. That's done, and I'll do the same for the red. Assign to layer, and see they changed. So its speed is 10mm a second at 30% power for the wood, or the plywood. I'm going to scroll out. I'm going to click on this one here. I'm going to group it. So that's now grouped. And I'm going to click on both of these and I'm going to align them. So over here we've got align tools. Align vertical. And align horizontal. Now those are aligned. So I'm going to save this as I've got it now. File, save as. I'm going to click on the badge folder, B. I'm going to call this one B master. Save. Now in your Google Drive there's a shared resources folder. In the shared resources folder is going to be, for instance, a folder that says plywood. So that's where you're going to end up. Once you've saved your file that's for the plywood, you'll upload it to the shared resources folder in your Google Drive. So this is going to be my plywood one. So I'm going to delete these. I've still got my master. I'm going to go File, Save As, and you can put your initials or your name. Save. And later on, this would be uploaded to the Shared Resources folder under Plywood. And if we go into the preview, everything that is black is going to be done. So we've got the black engraving, and then we've got the black bits where it's going to laser cut it. We've also got a priority. So it's first one, second one, third one. Now I'm going to edit, undo. This is our back, so I'm going to delete these. And we're just going to do the back. Now the acrylic has to be at a different power. So this is acrylic. So I'll close that one. I'm going to go Ruder Badge Acrylic, Cut. Now, so that was on 30, assigned to layer. So acrylic is at a higher power, 10 millimeters a second, but 40. So if you're doing acrylic, you need to make sure you change the power. So this one here, File, Save As. I'm going to have that in black acrylic. So I'll put on black on there, save. So I'll scroll back into that one. So that one's saved, edit, undo. So we don't need the back anymore, we've done that. What I'm doing now is my letters. So I'll get rid of my plywood. So my letters and my numbers. So actually, what we need to do is ungroup that, click on the B, and then click on the 4, so I'm going to delete. So what I'll do now is I'm going to delete the pieces I don't want, because I just want to end up with the B and the 4. Delete this blue outline, edit, undo. I need to ungroup it. So I'm left with the B and the 4, and I'm going to do this in red. Now this is acrylic, so I need to change its power. So acrylic, cut, click on that there, so it's got that blue there, assigned to layer. That will change from 30 to 40. So now with 40% power, File, Save As, has to be red. Then that's saved, and later on I can upload that to the red folder in the Shared Resources drive. So it doesn't matter where you do this on the page, on representing the laser bed, we will end up positioning them before a laser cut to make it the most economical. So for instance, we'd end up putting stuff all nice and neatly. If it was all the same colour, we arrange them to get the most efficient use. And we can just open up separate windows and we'll prepare them to get them in so they're nice and clustered in a group, so we get the best use out of the acrylic or the plywood.
Thanks for watching another video by Digital Dovetail. Like and subscribe.